You've just accessed Hardware is Forever, your source for the expert insights, ideas, and innovations you need to do more in the electronics manufacturing industry. From optimization to operations, join us as we put the pieces together for a better approach to manufacturing. Let's go.
This is Hardware is Forever. Jay Patel is the CEO at Amtech. And Jay, I'm wondering what's in your toolkit over there at Amtech? Both as a leader, as a CEO, as a curious and inquisitive person, but also how you run your business and how you do things. Let's talk a little bit about the tools required to do the job right.
Yeah. So I think, number one, the toolkit, it depends where you want to start. Really, the right toolkit starts between your ears. And, you have to have the right mindset. You have to have the right knowledge. You have to have the right outlook and understanding when you're doing any type of endeavor. You need that type. And I think, to get there, we've talked about culture. We talked about all that a lot. And I think, you need to have the right team. You need to have the right advisors. You need to have the right attitude. You need to have a growth mindset to be able to get there. I think that's the number one right tool. So if the leadership isn't good, then nothing else is good. So the right tool for me starts between my ears and starts with the people I surround myself in. And then as a leader of the organization, I am not here to hold people to a specific productivity standard, or I am not here to micromanage them, or people are not cogs in the machine. Really, my job is to set everybody up for success, because if they are successful, I am successful. And I think this comes from the word Ubuntu, and I don't know if I said it properly or not, which is one of our core values. Actually, there's a Netflix docu-series on coaching, like the best coaches in the world, and Doc Rivers is on there. And when the Boston Celtics won the championship, the core value that they put together and they used was Ubuntu, which is my success leads to your success leads to my success. So we're a team, and we got to work together. Why was I able to do this? I was able to succeed in this area because you did that over there. So really, I did not succeed. You helped me succeed, and we all succeeded together. So there's no selfishness. There's no it's just we're working as a team. That being said, as a leader, the right tools as an organization that we need to have, and I know I've been using tools a lot, but we're going to say it again, is three things I always use. My 3 T's is tools, technique, and talent. And I don't know where I heard it or how it came to me, but it really made sense to me. So first, as an organization, I want to set up and assess the risk and put things in place. So then it sounds really bad for me to say this, but it's like we almost passively or accidentally develop and manufacture high quality product. And how do we do that? That is, again, going back to tools, technique, and talent. So what are the tools? Tools are software, hardware, equipment, hand tools, jigs, fixtures. To take the time out to think about how we need to do it, so then the job becomes easier, repeatable, and less stressful, whether that's physically or mentally less stressful. So, what are some tools that we use? At our facility, we have our placement equipment. Some of the tools that we use are our ERP systems. Some of the tools that we use are laptops and dashboards and KPIs to make sure that we develop our own internal jigs and fixtures to make sure that we get repeatable. One of simple one is we have to put stickers on enclosures. Well, the customer wants it in a particular area, so it lines up with the LEDs. If you do that manually, it takes a lot of time. You have to, locate it. Instead, we created a jig. So we gave that tools to the team out there. And then once we have the tools in place, we have to use techniques that get the right technique down. So what does that mean? That means processes. That means little tools of the trade, those things that really tell us how to use those tools properly. What is a technique to use optimize a pick and place machine? What is a technique to solder a component onto the board? What is a technique to test it? And then once we get the tools, we get people using it, we get the technique down, then we have to codify it. So either put it into our work instructions, create drawings, create new documentation, or create new algorithms and new KPIs to be able to do that job and set everybody up for success. And then once we're solid with our tools and technique, we have to find the right talent. And the talent, it just can't be off the street. They have to be enjoying what that tool and technique allows them to do. So they have to get it, they have to want it, they have to have the capacity to do it. And then that's the challenge there. So sometimes we have the tools and technique down, but the talent may not be there, which is fine. Not everybody's made to do everything. Sometimes the talent is there, but then we fail in providing the right tools and technique. So we get feedback from them and then develop those new tools and techniques so then they can be successful. And what we found is just by that simple, the 3 T's, it's really helped us set people up for success and really point the finger back at not everybody else, but we point the finger back at leadership to say, have we done these 2 things? Like, wait, well, this is not happening. We're having this not so optimum result. What's going on? And before we jump to finger pointing or saying it's this person or that person, we go back and say, okay, do they have the right tool? Do they have the right technique? And if we do provide that, majority of the times, everybody's successful.
And I love this. And you mentioned earlier, maybe it kind of sounds bad or something to say we almost passively succeed. I disagree. I feel like what you're doing is setting yourself up for more inevitable success. If you don't do those things at the outset, you're either getting lucky or you're having to work really hard to succeed. Whereas if you've kind of systematized success, you should expect it. Do you feel like you mentioned these kind of in linear order of tools, techniques, and talent, and then you sort of reinforced how one, upholds or scaffolds the other? Is it linear for you? So if we don't have the tools, we can't expect to get the technique? Or do you find yourself ever like, this person showed up and they've got a skill set that we're unfamiliar with. How can we leverage that with better techniques or does new text show up that makes you rethink those techniques? I'm sure it's dynamic and changing, but is there a general way for you?
Is it linear? It's linear because tools are within my reach, and there's always people selling tools. there's always this industrial automation and people selling equipment. So I think that's, when we look at it, that's just a one-time cost. So we kind of start with tools there. And then we start with, okay, well, we have the tool, we have the technique, then we have to get the talent. And sometimes we get these diamonds in the rough, talent. If we wanted to go out and say, I want somebody who can do this at this rate, and we will be really successful, it's hard to find talent. It's not readily available. And I think to find talent, it's a numbers game. Like, you have to keep on searching, you have to keep on attracting, and you have to keep on bringing them in to be able to find the right talent. So typically the easiest things is tools and technique, and then we work on talent. But there's really not a plug and play solution. Like, we could get talent in and they say, you guys are just doing this all wrong. Your technique is wrong, your tools is wrong. And then we take feedback from them and modify our entire process. So there's no plug and play solution, but if we want to be a successful organization, we have to focus on the 3 T's.
How does this, one thing I'm getting to know about you in our conversations is that you seem to me to have almost an insatiable curiosity to get better or wider or deeper with your own knowledge and skill sets. And you consistently seem to want to hold yourself to higher standards or higher expectations for your own, whatever, leadership capabilities or performance. So bring this to a micro level for me. Does it apply to you? So whatever, as you're trying to grow or get better, or get smarter about some leadership aspect or whatever, do you kind of break it down into, so do I have the tools to succeed? Do I understand the techniques required? And am I even the right guy? Or can I develop the skill set around this? Like, how does this work just in your own sort of sitting in my chair, trying to get things going?
Yeah, I think for me, it is like that, like, I think number one, I look at my talent deficiencies, and I look at, where do I need to get better, or who can tell me what level of, for lack of better words, ignorance I have. And I think surrounding myself with those type of people it helps me get the talent that I need. It helps me get the tools that I need, and it helps me get the technique that I need. So I think it really starts with leadership first, and it really started with me, because I running the organization, trying to grow it, I understood very quickly that I am woefully inadequate to do what I'm doing. So I had to, just for survival, I had to look outwards and find the right talent, find the right technique, and find the right tools, so I could become better and then lead the organization.
Systematizing this kind of, it's almost success, is key to sustainability. And I feel like you've tapped into something with these 3 T's to give you focus. And you can easily say, it's like checks and balances. Do we have this? Yes. Okay. Then if not, then this. It's an if else kind of thing. Is that accurate? Does it give you a really clear, almost dashboard perspective?
Yeah. I mean, when it comes who said it? Good to great, complexity is the enemy of execution. So rather than like getting too complex, if you can take these big things and just create these little acronyms, or create these little things that help you, like is the 3 T's a tool that I've developed in my toolbox? Yeah. And I think it's helped us significantly because it's easy to communicate. Everybody understands it. When we're doing type of root cause analysis or looking for failure modes, we look at and say, okay, 3 T's, what do we got? Tools, technique, talent. And it's very easily easily communicated within the organization. And it's easy for me to remember as well. I'm sure this doesn't cover everything. There's probably, talk to experts and they're say that, this is not the right way. You need to add these things, or you need to reword it. But, in 90 to 95% of all the use cases, this has worked for us.
Jay Patel is the CEO at Amtech, and I love this idea of the 3 T's. It's great advice. It's great insight. It's great, framework for us to practice. And really interesting conversation. Good stuff. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us, and a special thanks to our subscribers and followers. Consider becoming one today wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube.